Hey, so today's video is going to be for anyone that wants to become a young and successful entrepreneur. Basically, going to share things I've worked, 10 specific things that have really helped me, I guess, somewhat reach this successful entrepreneur type at a relatively young age. And I really hope that this video is going to help you out because these are like very actionable things that you guys can literally do starting today. And they've all been extremely helpful for me in achieving what I've achieved. So I really think that's going to help you out as well. So the first one is going to be starting early. This is one of those things where, like, if I could go back in time, I would have started earlier than I started. If you guys don't know my story, like I've sort of been doing like the first signs of entrepreneurship started when I was very, very young, when I would sell candy in middle school. But my real like entrepreneurial experience didn't happen until I would say after college. In high school, in college, I did like freelancing. I did photography, film, stuff like that for clients. But I wouldn't really view that as like necessarily trying to start a business or trying to become an entrepreneur. I was just simply a creative person that loved photography and all that stuff. And I wanted to make some money doing it for other people. So my real like business journey started after I graduated, after I didn't get into med school. And what I really should have done was I should have started like an actual business during probably college, right? Instead of just freelancing, I should have tried to like turn it into an actual business. And I should have done a lot more research on how to build a business and all that stuff. If I had done this earlier, I would be years and years ahead of where I am right now. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day because everyone's journey starts at different times and you really can't compare yourself to other people. But this would have tremendously helped me out, right? Basically, the thing is like the earlier you start, the more time you have to, take risks. The more time you have to learn, the earlier you can start to have some failures because you need those failures under your belt to start seeing real success. And it gives you a huge advantage, right? Also, the earlier you start, you have this advantage where people want to support like a really young person's business. Now, if I go out there and like approach a business, they're like, dude, you're 30 something, right? Like, fuck off. But if I was like in college or something, they'd be a lot more likely to want to help. So that's one thing I would tell you guys. If you're young right now and you are thinking about like, hey, I want to build a business. I want my life to be revolved around business. Do it as soon as possible. And that really comes down to taking action and starting your first business as soon as you can. So please do that, you guys. Okay, so the next one is going to be finding some type of mentor or person that has a life that you aspire to be like. It took me a long time to start doing this. Like I was well out of college. And I think if I had started following the right people on social media, use social media as like a real tool to, see the behind the scenes of these other successful people, it would have inspired me a lot faster. It would have inspired me to take action a lot faster. Nowadays, like, yes, it is hard to find a true mentor because a lot of these really successful people that you want to maybe model your life after, they probably don't have that much time. And even if they did, they would only be able to take on maybe one or two mentees. And so the chance of like you finding something like that is quite low, unless your parents know someone. That I'd say is like the best strategy. If you have parents and they know successful entrepreneurs, tell them to cash in a favor, right? See if they can hit them up and be like, hey, my son, my daughter wants to learn from you. That's probably the best way. If you don't have that, you need to find an actual. So what I would say is like, you want to use social media as your mentor in essence, right? There are a lot of people out there that are very successful and they post a behind the scenes look of their life on their Instagram or on their YouTube, vlogs, whatever it is. Like you can learn a ton from these people, not even actually personally knowing them. There are so many great entrepreneurs out there that have great like vlogs and they have a camera guy following them behind the scenes, showing people their whole day from start to finish. And you can get so inspired by that. You can learn so much from that. I spend my time actually still being inspired by a lot of these like day in the life vlogs because I love to see what other entrepreneurs are doing with their time and with their day, how they are allocating their most valuable resource, which is time. And yeah, so I'd say, please use social media correctly. Go out there and find a like social media mentor, or if you can, find a real mentor, because that accountability, that direct feedback, that like actual person, you can't really replace that, right? But the next best thing, of course, is have your social media mentor. Next one is you need to spend a significant amount of time learning. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to become a version of yourself that can keep up with things, chase action, basically someone that's prepared when opportunity hits, right? You can't be someone that doesn't have any knowledge because one, you're not going to see opportunities as they fly by you. There's opportunities everywhere. But two, if one like actually lands at your door or hits you in the face or whatever it is, you won't be able to do anything with it because you're not prepared. And so spending, let's say, 2 hours a day learning allows you to become prepared for when that does happen. And something is going to hit you. It's going to land at your feet. And most people, they can't do anything with it, right? And that's just because they are not prepared. So what I would recommend is read books, watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, audiobooks, right? Instead of listening to just music at the gym, switch it up. Listen to podcasts, listen to your audiobooks, spend the time actually learning while you work out, because that's really incredible. Same thing with driving. A lot of us drive a lot. If you spent every minute that you drive learning, you would become a very, very powerful person in terms of knowledge. And I think a lot of people don't realize just how much of this free time that they have, where they're just completely not thinking about anything. They're doing something else that they would have to do anyways, and they're not properly multitasking. So if I could go back to all those workouts in college, I would have been like, dude, Charlie, you need to start listening to some actual shit that isn't just music. Because yeah, music is great and listen to music, but mix some actual info in there. You will learn so much. And yeah, filling your brain with all this info, it's very, very helpful. Okay, number 4 is to take risks and fail. So I think one of the biggest things I see with my peers who are successful is that they are able to see failure in a different light. They're able to see risk in a completely different light than most people. What I mean by this is, like, if you take an average person and you ask them how many times they fail at things, the number is going to be very, very low. But if you ask someone that has been at the game for a long time, who has seen a lot of success, I guarantee you the number of failures that they've had in their life leading up to that point, massive. It just, you really can't find people that are a one-hit wonder. Sure, there are some people out there, but it's not a lot of people. And most people, they have seen so many failures over and over again, but they have been consistently been able to just get back on their feet and try something else or try it again and keep going. It's been the same with me, right? If I had started to take risks and fail earlier, going back to number one on this list, I would be more successful. I would be successful at an earlier age. So if there's one thing I'd tell you, like, please try to fail more. Like, get those notches on your belt. View those failures as an instrumental part of the process. And if you look at it that way, you're not going to overanalyze and not take action on things just out of fear. I think a lot of people, they want to do stuff. They want to start a business. They want to do blank, like insert anything, but that fear prevents them from actually taking action. And so, yeah, please look at it differently, because I think so many people aren't living up to their full potential just because they are too scared to take risks, and they're too scared to have failures. They're too scared to think what other people will think of their failures. Just block out all that noise and tell yourself, like, this is actually part of the process. It's part of the process for a reason. There's a reason why every successful person out there has dealt with tons and tons of failures. And so if you don't have any failures yet, like, you need to get some, right? Think about it. Okay, next one is going to be do what other people are not doing. I think I spent way too many years just trying to fit in, just trying to do things that other people were doing, expectations of people whose life I didn't really want to have. And yeah, you have to be different. I mean, being super young and being successful, or being successful and young at the same time, it's a very rare thing, right? And so you cannot expect to just do what other people do, because then you're just going to get average results. I think something that stuck with me is like the inputs you have, the inputs and actions and habits, those literally directly correlate to the outcome. So all the things you're doing on a day-to-day basis, those are the inputs. And those inputs cannot be what everyone else is doing. If everyone's doing something, then it's not what's going to create an extraordinary life. That's just how it is. This applies to pretty much everything, right? Even investing. If everyone is talking about investing in some obscure thing, then the market's at an all-time high and it's going to crash. So you basically need to think, like, what action should I be doing to create the life that I want to live? Those actions need to be different than what other people are doing. I know I keep repeating basically the same sentence over and over again, but you truly have to prioritize this, and you truly need to live with this type of mindset. Nowadays, if I am debating an action to do or not, one of the first things I think about is everyone doing this or not? Because if they are, then I need to do something different. Same thing with, let's say you're working out, right? And most people are going to get to, let's say, 90% exertion on an exercise. And then you got to think, most people are not going to go that extra 5 to 10%. Most people are going to run, let's say, 5 miles, but they're not going to run 8 miles. Most people are going to do this type of workout, but they're not going to go this extra length for this one. And so really, the winning comes in that subsection, that additional thing that most people are not doing. That's just one example, right? But this basically applies across the board. So hopefully that message sticks. Okay, number 5 is to create a morning routine or some type of wellness routine. And of course, this doesn't directly cause you to become successful, right? But in my own experience, there was a very instrumental part of my life when I decided, all right, Charlie, I need to switch things up. It'd been many years where I had done like side hustles, tried different projects, hadn't really seen any real success. And I decided to basically reinvent myself after this pretty long vacation to Southeast Asia. It was a great reset. Didn't spend any time doing anything like work related or like productive, but I had a great time. And when I got back, I told myself, okay, this is the time to basically reinvent my morning routine. And so, I had read the Miracle Morning, and I basically implemented that into my own life, like fully the day I got back. And from there, my life, it really changed. And it's basically been uphill since, or it's been up since. And of course, the morning routine, like, it doesn't make you any money, but it basically creates the right like mindset and environment and change in your brain chemistry to do the things that you need to do to see success. Sounds all like food and stuff, but it really had a big impact on me. And so I think like if you guys currently wake up late or you have a very unstructured morning, please implement a morning routine. Your morning routine should have like at least 3 different activities, all revolving around, let's say, reading, some type of meditation, doing your visualizations on like your goal, dream life, gratitude, actually like being grateful for where you are. I think that is very, very important. Maybe some type of working out. It could even be more like structural things like having a glass of water in the morning, stretching, whatever it is, right? So it's just really important that you guys start your day really strong because that momentum is going to carry you throughout the day. If you start your day lazy, you're going to be lazy throughout the day. If you start your day strong, you're going to be strong throughout the day as well. So that's a big one. Next one is going to be just saying yes more. I think when I was younger, I was very cautious about spending my time on certain things. And it was just too cautious. I think a lot of people operate this way where they're like, oh, should I do this thing? Should I say yes? Should I go do this activity? Should I say yes to this meeting? Should I, whatever it is, right? You have more, what's it called? You have more ability to say yes to things, especially if you're young. You probably don't have a family. You probably don't have like a lot of these responsibilities that really eat you up once you start getting older. And so this is the perfect time to say yes to things. The more situations you put yourself into, the more likely you are to see luck. The more likely you are to create luck in your life. And this applies to social situations. This applies to business opportunities. This applies to learning more things, going to more events, reading more books. Just say yes to more things. I know a lot of people say you have to say no to more things, but I think that is more at a later part of your life. Once you see success, that's when you really need to, say no, because a lot of opportunities and things are going to be thrown at you. But when you're young and you're still on that journey, please say yes to more things and put yourself in more situations to get lucky. This is going to give you way more opportunities in life. It's going to put you in front of more people, and something is going to happen where you're going to be like this. You're going to be like, if I hadn't said yes to, let's say, going to this event, I wouldn't have met so-and-so. And if I hadn't said yes to having lunch with that person, I wouldn't have met this person that they knew who put me into this deal, which created this thing. And it's basically like a set of dominoes, right? And the things like you don't know what that first domino push is going to be. And so that's why it's so important to say yes. Okay, next is going to be your location, your environment, right? You want to put yourself in a location with similar-minded people. Now, when I was living in LA after college, I had a lot of great friends, but I wanted to do my own thing and start my own business and stuff like that. But I had essentially zero entrepreneur friends. This is my fault too, right? Like, I loved hanging out with my friends. It was comfortable, it was fun, but I didn't go out and seek other entrepreneurs to be surrounded by. And if I had, it would have made a huge, huge difference in the trajectory of my life. And so once I moved to Orange County, I basically needed to find a whole new set of friends. And it just turned out that the people I met here were business owners. And I cannot tell you how important that has been for like my entrepreneurial journey. It's resulted in businesses being built that wouldn't have been built if I hadn't been here. And it's resulted in so much growth in myself that wouldn't have been possible if I had just stayed in LA and been with the same people. So please, you guys, if you find yourself like stalling in whatever city you're in, if you haven't moved in a while, if you're in a small town and there aren't that many like entrepreneurs doing what you want to do, you should relocate. You should put yourself in a different location. Yeah, it's essentially reinventing yourself. And I cannot tell you the importance of your environment when it comes to chasing this type of life. It's very, very important. I get it's hard to move sometimes. It's hard to relocate. You might not have the funds right now, but you can also do the same thing overseas, right? There are tons and tons of digital nomad hubs out there with a much lower cost of living. And so if you can't just like uproot your life right now, a pretty good alternative is go travel for 3 to 6 months at a time. Go to one of these places with tons of entrepreneurs and meet those people, build your business alongside those people. And that is a great option that I probably should have done when I was younger. So if you're in that opportunity or if you're in that phase of your life and being a digital nomad is something that you think looks interesting, I would say try it out. It's a fantastic and very economical way of putting yourself in the right environment. Number 9 is to lock in. I mean, like, there's no other way of saying it. You need to lock in. You need to work really, really hard. You need to work really hard at building something that doesn't exist just yet. I'm not talking about just locking in at a 9-to-5 job, right? Like, yeah, that's gonna help you build work ethic, but you need to lock in on building your businesses. And it's okay if some of them fail, right? A lot of my businesses failed and didn't end up working out. But you need to lock in and spend a lot of hours building them. You cannot expect to have a lot of success on anything without absolutely devoting a ton of time and energy. Yeah, there's some things where you need money too, but you guys are young. You have the ability to devote a ton of time resources into this stuff, right? And what you guys will notice is like, yeah, money and stuff helps, but the time right now that you have to lock in, that's really gonna separate the people that win and then the people that lose. So fall in love with locking in. Fall in love with, I guess, that like hustle culture thing where you wake up, do your morning routine, work, take a break, work out, do more work, and just, yeah, think of it as a phase of your life. You don't need to do this forever, but you do for sure need to work extremely hard. So please fall in love with that and don't be scared of the hard work. Make sure it's fulfilling and the hard work is not going to be as hard as it should be. So yeah, that's locking in. Next is going to be, final one is marketing. if I learned to become a better marketer earlier on, I for sure would have seen success in a lot of my earlier businesses that didn't end up working out. For example, my first clothing business, I lost a lot of money on that because I had zero idea how to market. And today in 2025 and beyond, marketing is just really strong content creation. That's like the first pillar of marketing that everyone should master. If you can make great content, you can basically build any business and get organic leads. Yeah, so spend time learning marketing. This goes together with like the spending like 2 hours a day learning stuff. That should be a huge portion of the things that you learn. If you use social media, don't just browse aimlessly. See what other people are doing on social media to get attention and views. Take notes. And if you do that for whatever side hustle or business you start, it's going to help you immensely, right? Client acquisition, sales, it is the hardest part of any business. And it's like the lifeline of it. It's the blood, because without any money coming in, without any clients or sales or whatever, any business is going to fail. So please, please, please prioritize learning marketing. Like I said, the first main pillar is going to be like content, social media, learning how to build proper content on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And then at some point, you're going to want to also learn paid media, copywriting, all that stuff. These are essential skills that every person should know if they want to be a successful business person. And if you're young and you haven't learned any of this stuff yet, I really encourage you to go out there and learn it, because that's one of the huge things where it's like, yeah, if something comes knocking, any like opportunity comes, being prepared, a huge portion of that is the marketing knowledge. So yeah, those are 10 to-dos that I think will make a huge impact on your entrepreneurial journey. And if you're watching this and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, like these things all still apply. Of course, you can't rewind to go back into your 20s or whatever, but you can at least start these things now, and it's still going to really help you out, right? A lot of the most successful entrepreneurs, they got their start. They started building momentum in their 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s. And so, yeah, well, hopefully this video inspires you guys, and I hope you got some real like takeaways, actionable takeaways that you guys can implement right now, because yeah, these have helped me a lot, and I think they're going to help you a lot too. That's it for this video. And if you want to see any other content like this, please subscribe to this channel. I'm just trying to give you guys value, info, without any of the crazy edits. This is the type of content that I like to see myself at this stage of my life. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in the next one.